Marvel Rivals is probably one of the most successful games of 2024, and definitely one of the most successful live service games I'd wager of all time, considering we are actually in the process of seeing what I would say is the death of live service games. However, that hasn't stopped their US-based development team from getting completely laid off. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and yeah, what could have caused this? From that part place, Marvel Rivals director and dev team laid off. NetEase issues mass layoffs of U.S. workforce despite game's surging success. Now, there's a couple things here. If you go on X and they're talking about this story, it's community noted as it wasn't the director, and in a way that's true, but it's untrue. So it was not the lead director, who's of course Chinese because it's a Chinese-made game. However, if you go to the LinkedIn of the director, Thaddeus Sasser, yes, he was the game director specializing in level design. So he was the director of the U.S. office that worked on level design for the game. So we're going to go through this before we do hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. And thanks to some interesting information politically, I think we can all kind of safely assume why they got laid off, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with direct finances of the game selling, not making skins, the whole nine. And a move that has stunned both fans and industry professionals, NetEase Games has laid off most of the US team behind the wildly successful hero shooter Marvel Rivals. Despite the game's dominance across platforms like Steam, Xbox, PlayStation 5, the entire Seattle-based development team, including director Thaddeus Sasser, has been let go in a string of Marvel Rivals layoffs that decimated the game's U.S. workforce. And look, I know a lot of recent layoffs have been due to a myriad of factors, games not selling, an oversaturation of bloat, and people who, frankly, didn't need to be there, that weren't contributing much. Of course, DEI, wokeness, those do have a part to play, regardless of what people want to say, when you're hiring folks based on immutable characteristics, things like skin color or who they go to bed with, and then it turns out they're not so great at their job. Yes, they'll end up later getting axed. The fact of the matter is, none of these factors, none of the usual factors for the massive layoffs we've been seeing the last 2 years, give or take, actually apply in the case of Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals has enjoyed an extraordinary launch, drawing in over 20 million players in its first month alone, with the 6v6 shooter praised for its fast-paced gameplay, plentiful roster of Marvel characters, quickly became one of the most played multiplayer games over the year. Even as many live service games struggle to maintain audiences, Marvel Rivals thrived, consistently ranking as the top play game on Steam and staying in the top 5 for consoles. I can't tell you guys how huge this is. Like, I'm not a Marvel Rivals player. It's not. To be fair, like full disclosure, my graphics card is a 1 generation out of date to be able to play it. That being said, I don't know that I'd play it anyway. I definitely would have played it on launch to see what the hype was about, to enjoy it, and I'm gonna be honest, mostly just play as Spider-Man. But at the end of the day, I don't like live service games. I'm not big on hero shooters. So the only thing that would have kept me interested, or had me interested to begin with, was the fact that it was Marvel-based, and I'm a Marvel fan. But in general, the point is, even if it's not for me, I've got a lot of friends that play it, pretty much all the cast of SNH, and they love it, and they're still playing it to this day. So again, it's not for a lack of success. NetEase and Chinese gaming giant has seen its fair share of success in the global market, and Marvel Rivals is poised to be another long-term hit, and it still is. I mean, just because they lost the American development team doesn't mean it's not going to be a long-term hit. In fact, I don't even know if there's evidence to show that this will slow down any of the game's progress. The game's transparent communication with players, particularly from its developers in China, earned praise from the community. Regular updates, balance patches, new content, such as a well-received Season 1.5 update featuring Human Torch, The Thing, kept players engaged, yet none of this was enough to prevent the sudden closure of the Seattle studio, Anchor Point, which played a key role in the game's development. Now, I'm going to get to why many of us think this happens, so just keep bearing with me, but it's important to sort of lay the groundwork and see what these guys did have to say. I mean, this is the information that came out, and it's really unfortunate. So, this is the quote that was on LinkedIn from the director of the Seattle studio. This is such a weird industry. My stellar, talented team helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, and we're just laid off. Oh, well, times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right? And then he goes on to spend this entire time glazing his partner in crime or one of his employees, Gary McGee. A very good thing to do. If you're the director, I mean, that just goes to show this guy was a leader. He's not out there saying, I need to find another job. He takes this post saying they're laid off and immediately says, let's try and find my folks new work, and even though he himself was also laid off, and he starts with this individual right here, there will probably be follow-up posts with other members. I like that. That's really nice to see. And then you've got this right here, Jack Burrows, level designer for Marvel Rivals, so an employee of Thaddeus. Hey folks, just got laid off from my job working on Marvel Rivals with NetEase. Was an enormous pleasure to work with my American coworkers who joined me in this sad culling. Just couldn't dodge that big boot, I guess, no matter how big the success of the gig. Now I'm seeking a new role and would appreciate your support. If you hear any of the opportunities or just want to catch up, please send me an open message or comment below. I'd love to reconnect. Now, in the past, I've 100% celebrated when loser game devs who didn't deserve the positions they have got laid off, because let's face it, gaming has been in a rut, and how much of that's been on the development side. Broken, buggy games at launch, developers and employees that attack the gamers on X or on various social media platforms for disagreeing with their identity politics, trying to shove identity politics in games. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons to be happy when these devs lose their jobs. That being said, again, exception to the rule, Marvel Rivals never experienced any of that. There were no controversies of devs attacking the audience or throwing a fit about how many cis white males are playing the game or anything to that effect. So, in this instance, yeah, it does kind of suck. I do kind of feel bad for the guys, but I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, but one that I think does have a pretty clear-cut reason if you look into why. So right here, the article is going over what they said. Then we got Del Walker. I don't get it, man. You make one of the most successful live service titles of the generation, despite the world telling you live service is dead, and still get laid off. What are we even doing at this point? Well, it's a Chinese company. That's going to lead into why. While NetEase does not provide an official explanation for the layoffs, the impact of Marvel Rivals' future remains uncertain. The game's community is left wondering how these cuts will affect upcoming content, especially with the ambitious plans for new hero releases on the horizon. Anchor Point's future is also unclear, though the studio's Barcelona branch still has an active job. Now that's an interesting point. Why does the Barcelona branch still have a job, but the US side was closed? Well, then we got our answer. Our answer comes from my buddy Dave here. Now, if you don't know Dave, he is a great account to follow. He is an indie dev. He's a buddy of mine. He is very, very middle of the road in terms of trying to be objective when looking at the culture war and how it portrays to gaming. So yes, hardcore support my boy Dave here. Remember, guys, NetEase is a Chinese CCP company. They are China to the core. They left because of the tariff wars with Trump and Winnie. CCP recommended all Chinese companies to dump the US. NetEase is just following suit. Yeah, right here. Gonna be honest, I forgot about them being part of the CCP. Then we got this moron, Dame Seat World. It's misinfo, you dumbass. The game director is Chinese and just posted a video on the official YouTube channel. Yes, the game director, the overall director. We are talking about the director of the U.S. office. So what? Probably put in another studio. And again, this is Dave not realizing that we're talking about two different directors here, not the overall director. But the point is, I mean, Spain isn't going to war with China. There's no tariff wars between China and Spain. So, of course, the Barcelona studio is going to stay open. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a casualty of American-Chinese politics. And I'm going to be real. I think that this is... I mean, it's not a good thing. We don't want people to lose their jobs. We don't want good people who actually care about their work and care about the industry to lose their jobs. The people that have been losing their jobs, they're the ones that attack the fans, attack the paying customer, attack the gamers. They're just hired because of, what they do or don't have between their legs or their skin color. Okay, yeah, those people, they can go. But at the end of the day, when you've got these, political tensions, which of course are going to cause financial and economic tensions the world over, sometimes you have a casualty of war. But if losing this studio is part of what needs to be done for over the course of the next, several years to put our economy back on track, if China is trying to be retaliatory towards us just building up our own economy, yeah, we kind of got China to blame for this. And let's be real, like Dave said, it's a CCP company. This is a Chinese company through and through. It's a communist country. There's censorship in the game. You can't say Winnie the Pooh. You can't say COVID. You can't say Uyghur, if I remember right. Like, there's certain phrases and key things that are censored because it's a Chinese game and they're not going to allow those sort of words in their game. So, I mean, look, I'm not saying you shouldn't play Marvel Rivals. If you like the game, go for it. We've been seeing some great games come out of China. I mean, Black Myth, Wukong, Marvel Rivals. Pretty sure Tides of Annihilation coming out as a Chinese game. Now, I could be wrong, and you know how stoked I am for Tides of Annihilation. I've talked about it multiple times. The fact of the matter is, just know that, yeah, these geopolitical conflicts are going to continue to have an impact on gaming. And this time, it unfortunately, while it might actually be better in the long run because it's going to lead to financial and economic independence for the Western studios, yeah, it's a rough situation. So, again, there's not even any proof that that is the reason, but I mean, I think Dave's assessment makes perfect sense. Being a CCP company, and only pulling out of your American branch with what's going on right now, I mean, Occam's razor and all, right? But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Not always in video format, but also my live streams of various other people's shows. And also not only about video games, but anime, movies, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon. And become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord. Choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis. Choose the videos that we react to on the Friday night live streams. And of course, get involved with over 140 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, I am all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.